Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal University. I would like to welcome you all from all over the world. We are really appreciate of your attendance with our second webinar for the second season. You're interested in the webinar, give us the value to introduce quality of presentation and the quality of speakers as well with different discipline. Next, please.
تمر جامعة الإمام عبد الرحمن بن فيصل بمرحلة ارتفعت فيها التوقعات، حيث يسهم التعليم في تقدم الأمم، ولذا تنطلق جامعتنا من رؤيتها الاستراتيجية جامعة رائدة تسعى إلى التميز محلياً وإقليمياً وعالمياً، وتهدف إلى تحقيق رسالتها على الوجه الأكمل في تقديم خدمات معرفية وبحثية ومهنية إبداعية بشراكة مجتمعية فاعلة ومن خلال قيمها الأصيلة. وعلى مدى تاريخنا العريق منذ أن تأسست عام 1975 ميلادي فرعاً من جامعة الملك فيصل بمدينة الدمام، مروراً بصدور القرار السامي لتحويلها إلى جامعة مستقلة عام 2009 تحت اسم جامعة الدمام، ثم انفصال جامعة حفر الباطن من رحم جامعة الدمام في عام 2014، وأخيراً بتشريفها بمسمى جامعة الإمام عبد الرحمن بن فيصل في عام 2016. كما تميزت الجامعة بالحصول على العديد من الاعتمادات المحلية والعالمية على مدى السنوات الماضية، ونحن فخورون بهذا الإنجاز والذي بني على خطط استراتيجية تجسد اختيارنا لنموذج الجامعة الشاملة أداة لتحقيق رسالتنا في خدمة الوطن عموماً والمنطقة الشرقية على وجه الخصوص. وينتشر منسوبون في 6 مواقع في المنطقة الشرقية، ويبلغ عدد موظفينا نحو 8000 موظف ما بين أعضاء هيئة التدريس والكادر الإداري والطبي. كما يدرس في الجامعة ما مجموعه 35,000 من الطلبة ينتشرون في 19 كلية و85 برنامجا ضمن 4 قطاعات طبية وهندسية وإدارية علمية وإنسانية ومصنفة كالتالي: المسار الصحي، كلية الطب، كلية طب الأسنان، كلية الصيدلة الإكلينيكية، كلية العلوم الطبية التطبيقية بالدمام، كلية التمريض، كلية الصحة العامة، كلية العلوم الطبية التطبيقية بالجبيل. المسار الهندسي، كلية الهندسة، كلية العمارة والتخطيط، كلية التصاميم. المسار العلمي، كلية علوم الحاسب وتقنية المعلومات، كلية إدارة الأعمال، كلية العلوم، كلية العلوم والدراسات الإنسانية بالجبيل. المسار الإنساني، كلية الآداب، كلية التربية، كلية العلوم والدراسات الإنسانية بالجبيل، كليات لا تتبع السنة التحضيرية، كلية الدراسات التطبيقية وخدمة المجتمع، كلية الشريعة والقانون، وكلية المجتمع.
Thank you. On behalf of the President, His Excellency Professor Abdullah Rubesh, I would like to introduce the Vice President for Development and Community Partnership to speak about the Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal and Jusur initiative.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. On behalf of Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal University and our President, His Excellency Professor Abdullah Rubesh, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you all. We appreciate your participation in our webinar today entitled University Ranking Strategies, and we are happy to have you here. Our guest panelist, Dr. Ayman, Consulting Team Manager, Middle East, North Africa, and Turkey, Clarivate, will be a fantastic resource for us to learn from. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nuhad Al-Amir, and I work at Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal University as the Vice President for Development and Community Partnership. I would like to give you some brief yet significant information regarding Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal University. Next.
There is no slide available. You can speak up.
It's okay. So we can talk a little bit about our university, our history of our university. It is established in 1975 and go through a lot of names. And now the last name university, Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal University in 2009. There is a lot of demonstrate or the accomplishment of the IAU's national and international accreditation, including the fact that more than 61% of all programs have received accreditation from the NCAA, EBIT, and ACEN Accreditation Commission for Education and Nursing. IAU is ranked now 447 by QS, globally 800 by the Times, and 51 by Arabs. We have a special or a unique initiative, which is called Jusur Initiatives. Jusur Initiatives was established to accelerate the process of improving IAU ranking. It is also to improve our university ranking and academic, and will be the communication hub of the IAU to the community. I will welcome you again in this unique webinar. Welcome all. Welcome also Dr. Ayman in this as a panelist in this webinar. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed Al-Kuwaiti, for everything.
Thank you, Dr. Nahad. God bless you. Thank you so much. Today, as Professor Dr. Nahad Al-Umair mentioned, our topic is university ranking strategies, and our guest is very really working in a well-known company, which is Clarivate. I will introduce Dr. Adel Akil in a minute, but let me speak in general over general point of view regarding the ranking and how it's important to the universities worldwide nowadays, and it's become very important to support the higher education. This global expansion of the higher education has augmented the big demand to have more information concerned the good quality academic education offered by the different universities in the world. This condition caused that development for establishing systems, what we call it ranking, which is, it goes around the world. And these universities use this ranking as a promotion tool to display their education, research, business excellence. And such ranking websites will select appropriate universities a student visit for their studies, and also enhancing partnerships, enhancing more quality education to be introduced through those performance indicators. This university or several universities is ranking through different system, which is some of it is they call it a Quackerly Simons QS, and some of it is a Times Higher Education, and some of it and other they call it ARW, and others they call it Shanghai and Web Metrics, Green Metrics, and there is other in the market nowadays. Where are we among these ranking system? Okay, those ranking system, everyone has his own, and also we are also know there is also something we call it Saudi ranking system coming up hopefully within months, as we heard from the announcement from the National Center of Accreditation, or the ETIC, or the Saudi Evaluation Center. All this ranking, is it important? Do we need it? Is the higher education now rely on these KPI and ignore the other? Is the ranking indicator what we have, which is include number of publications, citation count, institutional image and reputation survey, and also focus within the indicator of industrial income, faculty-student ratio, is that enough? Is the systems what we have, is it a better solution to develop partnership with bibliometric like Clarivet, where our guest gonna present today, or Scopus as Elsevier? These benefits, it's there for the institutional. These benefits is there as a brand and visibility as the educationalists or the ranking consultants among the world. They said it's very important to collaborate and enhance it. It's important for the recruitment for the university to bring the talented and the good researchers. Some of them, they said, this data collection regarding institutional is important to know where and have more the competition among the others, which is that's raised the benchmarking and the analysis of it. And some of them, they said, benefits is reputation of the universities among the world. In this case, the university ranking gaining popularity more and more, and influence university administrators and leaders since 2006, since Times established there, since Shanghai came in the market of education. We are intense every month regard which results we're gonna receive. Can we compete our result with the others? I think the strategies should focus on a key aspect. Beside the research output and international collaboration, beside the reputation, beside the teaching and learning industry, what else we have? What else we have? The objective of this webinar, we are hosting, we are really privileged to have Dr. Ayman Akil as a consulting team manager, Middle East, North Africa, and Turkey within Clarivet. He will focus on 4 major objectives: major ranking system diagnosis, university-specific performance and bibliometric indicators used by major ranking system, developing a customized ranking strategy, and he will have some example for those specific university. Dr. Adil, he is a former researcher at Max Planck Institute with more than 12 years of experience in a research, management, assessment and planning, university ranking, research and development project. As a researcher, Dr. Adil works closely with the universities. He knows what's going on and research entities, helping them at assessing their performance using sophisticated bibliometrics indicators and methods. In addition, Dr. Adil works with industrial companies to offer knowledge-based solution and has notable experience in quantum optics, ultra-fast dynamics down to attosecond resolution, spectroscope method, and immune spin rotation measurement. He has published many articles in journals of high repute. I think Dr. Ayman is very suitable to this topic. People around the world, Dr. Ayman, welcome you and want to hear from you. The floor is yours, sir.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Ahmed. Thanks a lot, Dr. Nuhad, as well, and thanks for Dr. Tissam as well, and for IAU actually for giving me the honor and pleasure to be presenting here with you. I cannot agree more with your statement, Dr. Ahmed, the way you positioned actually the ranking of university, the philosophy of being ranked and to strategize the ranking. I cannot agree more with you. Thank you for this perspective. And for me, all the time when I am around visiting IAU or discussing with you, it's a learning opportunity as well. And thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for this. I prefer that I share my own slides. I think this is better and more handy as I have around 80 slides. Okay?
Sure.
Thank you. So I trust now my screen is okay. You can see it, you can hear my voice well, right?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Perfect, thanks, Dr. Ahmed. So the objectives for today is to cover 4 major actually items, I would say. Really, first, major ranking system diagnosis, just to have a look. Number 2 is to see how the university's specific performance in the major ranking system, how is this helping university ranking? Number 3, how to develop a customized ranking strategy, and we will give an exemplar strategy for a specific university, of course, a fictional university, not a real one, actually. To go ahead from this, I mean, of course, Dr. Ahmed did the work of introducing me, and thank you for this, Dr. Ahmed, again. Let's go about Clarivate overall. Really, in 1 or 2 minutes, I come from Clarivate, used to be known as IP and Science Business of Thomson Reuters. We say all the time that innovators face major challenges and opportunities. To speak about one which is highly relevant to ranking is the globalization and regionalization. It means that, let me imagine a university like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, the university will be benchmarked, measured, analyzed, compared to its peers in the same nation, let's say in Saudi Arabia or Egypt or India or Germany or whatsoever country. But nowadays, with the introduction of the ranking systems, so basically you can see this as a way that we are measuring universities. We are comparing university from all over the world. So you can see IAU benchmarked across a university in California and US, or in Bayern in South Germany, etc. I mean, this is a challenge, but this is an opportunity as well. A challenge because those universities from different countries, they don't really have the same conditions. They don't really have the same ecosystem. They don't really have the same starting point. But this is an opportunity as well, because this is an opportunity for visibility. If we are doing great, then everyone will see us, of course, and vice versa. So we are actually, as the Web of Science group or Clarivate, happy to support all over the research, entire research workflow, actually. Let us speak and focus now on the ranking. Just to put it in the perspective, although I think Dr. Ahmed have covered really this point, but let me just repeat it briefly. there's a guy, I mean, his name is Evan Izar. I really like him. He says that statistics is basically the only science in the world which enables different experts using same figures, but then drawing out different conclusions. So you see the same phenomena, which is the elephant here. Two scientists doing observations and writing down the observations, but each one of them will be collecting different set of observations because they are looking at different angles at the same phenomena. The same for ranking. Different ranking systems are not really registering or collecting observation on the same dimension of performance of a university. It's really different. And we really, truly have to understand this point. We've seen a couple of occasions, universities approaching us, they went up in THE, but went down in US News ranking system. And for them, this was really a challenge. For us, it's not really, this is well understood because those ranking systems are measuring the same university, the same performance they are trying to gauge. But on the other hand, they are using different methodology. It means they are covering different aspects of the university performance. To give some history background of this topic, it started really early in the early 20th century. A guy, his name is Havelock Elias, he said, I'm going to rank universities based on the order and on the number of geniuses who have attended them. As simple as this. But things got, with time, more sophisticated until we get Shanghai in 2003, the first global ranking system for the whole university in the world. After that, we have the other ranking systems, of course. Now, what are ranking systems good for? They are trying to measure 3 dimensions of a typical university performance. Number 1, research excellence, then teaching excellence, then innovation excellence. 3 dimensions. We've took the 4 major ranking systems in the world, leading ranking system. I'm talking QS, Shanghai, THE, and US News. All the indicators, here you go, with 3 colors. The blue color actually is the research, the gray one is the innovation, and the somehow greenish color is the teaching learning experience they are offering it. And then you can just really look that they are trying to find 3 dimensions and gauge it, but not on the same way, right? We're going to see this. Now, if you give, like, let's go for an example. Let's talk about the number of publications in index journals. Shanghai, give it a weightage of 20%. THE, give it a weightage of 6%. US News, 10%. QS, 0%. We are talking about the number of publications. So it means, in principle, if my number of publications increased, QS wouldn't notice. Of course, indirectly, it will. I'm talking directly. But reputation. If my reputation for some incident really went to the sky, Shanghai wouldn't see it directly. While QS will appreciate it, also US News, by around 20-25%. It's something to keep in mind, right? Let's go away from universities, away from academia. Let's go to football, actually. If you go to the World Cup scoring, let's say in 2018, I know it's coming in less than 1 month, the World Cup 2022. Let's speak about the past version of 2018. You have 2 key indicators here. One team has to qualify first to the knockout stage, and this is a weightage of 100% because this is a must. The other indicator is to win every single game all the way to the final, and this is another 100%. And according to this methodology, the winner is France, of course, right? Some scientists, they play the game. They enter and EF scores. You can see indicators like total goals, average number of goals per game, size of the team fan base, and number of goals scored by head. So if you watch all the games actually, but having different methodology, it means that you are not really measuring the same thing. You are actually using the outcome of the matches happening in the World Cup, the same matches, the same phenomena, the same elephant, but really different angle, you will get another winner. It will be Brazil, for example. So I guess the idea is really there. Now going to something similar to this. So what is this about ranking? We name it the weird psyche of rankings. Ranking is very appealing. I mean, you can find a lot of TVs, actually, channels, YouTubers, and the journals. The most article, let me say, is capable of bringing more traffic and more clickers on it will be more those with the titles top 10 restaurants to visit, top 3 cities in terms of quality of life. Anything regarding ranking is attractive. It really resonates with what we like and what we care about. Now you go to one definitive question. Does the eliteness of the academia stop such appealing? Do you think that because you are researchers and we are all in the research ecosystem, academia, does this stop it? Not really. Ranking really matters for universities. Should universities dismiss ranking? This is extremely important. I've met with a lot of decision makers in the world. In Europe, there are, like in Germany, for example, quite some resistance to ranking. They don't really like it, not in love with the ranking, let me put it like this. But still, they should care about it. Research actually told us to care about ranking, even if we don't like it or respect their methodology. A great study done by Hazelcorn in 2008. It shows that ranking is really heavily affecting students by their choices. So students are partially basing their decisions on ranking to choose their destination. Funding agencies and governments as well, funding agencies are using ranking as well in order to see if they are going partially decide to give the funding or not. They will check the affiliation of the researchers. If the university is well ranked, this is a plus. Employers as well. If you are going to be hired and you are coming from a university, not really none, the employer, potential future employer, will check the background and see if you have a ranked university or not. Collaborators as well. They like to be affiliated with collaborators who really belong to a prestigious university or a university which is really have good presence in the rankings as well. As a matter of fact, around 2/3 of the universities responding to his study, they've said that they've taken strategic, organizational, managerial, or academic actions based on ranking. So it really matters. And I can bet that some of those leaders, they don't really buy ranking. I mean, they don't really like rankings, but still they are making decisions based on ranking because it's affecting their ecosystem. So it matters for them. Now, in this part, I will go really briefly and quickly on the ranking systems indicators we are trying to really quickly quite some few indicators. We are US News and US. If you start by Shanghai, of course, couple of rankings. We care about academic ranking for the universities. This is Shanghai is trying to measure the quality of education, quality of faculty, research output, per capita performance, and this is the percentage of what Shanghai is trying to measure. Of course, this is the criteria for inclusion. We will share those with you for your reference, and this is the data source overall. Now, those are the best 10 world universities here. You can check it. I mean, most of them, they are from the US and UK. And this is the case for all the major ranking systems, to be honest. Now, going to THE, we are going to see world university ranking, basically the global one. THE is trying to measure teaching. THE is trying to measure research, citations, international outlook, and industry income. You can see that there is quite some presence of reputation in THE as well, reputation surveys, while it was really not there for Shanghai. Pay attention for the criteria for inclusion, that THE will say you shouldn't have 80% or more of your research output is exclusively in one of the THE 11 subject area. So it means that they don't like to actually to rank research centers or universities wholly focused on one research area. They want some kind of complete coverage, and this is the source for now. Those are the results. Most of them that are from US and UK. Actually, all of them, not most. Not all. Now going to the US News. So we are talking about best global universities ranking. US News is measuring reputation, productivity, impact, and international outlook. And this is a map. You can see that 75% actually is bibliometric and 25% is about reputation. Actually, we at Clarivate, we do the reputation surveys for them. Now, the criteria for inclusion is as follows. They need universities, not research centers. The university should be actually engaging in a teaching activity as well. And this is the data source. And those are the universities, all of them from the US, actually from the UK. Going to the QS. So QS publish couple of rankings. We are seeing now QS World University rankings, but they have a couple of rankings. They recently released something on the impact as well and sustainability. Now, QS is trying to measure academic reputation, employer reputation, faculty-student ratio, citation per faculty, international faculty ratio, and international student ratio as well. Those are the criteria. You can have a look. You can see 50% is based on reputation when it comes to QS. And the criteria of inclusion is as follows, actually. And here you go, the data source. This is only an overview, which meant just to present, to set the stage actually for us to talk and discuss. Those are the results. You can see that all of them, all of them are from either from the US or UK, except for ATH, which is really a key university in Switzerland, based in Zurich, and they are highly actually prestigious when it comes to engineering. I visited them for 6 months once to conduct an experiment in their laboratories when I was doing my research in physics, actually. Anyway, back to something for the best practices inside the university itself. So how to ensure that your data is considered correctly by ranking system? Number one, best practices are talking single point of contact. The ranking system, they are asking for some economic data, financial data, HR data about staff, research data, academic data, income from industry data. So they are collected from different departments from the university. You have both ways to go. Either you tell the different departments to follow up directly with the ranking agencies, or you say no. You hire one ranking committee or one ranking staff, maybe dedicated to ranking. This guy, he or she will collect the information from the university department and then contact the ranking committee. And this is the way of doing it. Single point of contact. Either, I mean, you don't let different stakeholders talk to ranking system. No, single point of contact. This is the best practice here. Make sure the data is okay, submitting by the deadline whenever you are supposed to submit. Buy-in is very important. What's buy-in here? You will be making decisions inside the university based and driven by ranking. You will be releasing policies, guidelines, targets, KPIs based on ranking. And the stakeholders who will be heavily affected by this are actually students, staff, researchers. If they don't understand the value of the ranking, if they don't appreciate and they don't understand how those policies and guidelines are helping the university in its ranking strategy, then this will be hugely problematic, actually. So you have to build the buy-in. You have to raise awareness and to let them know how this is important for the university ranking. Make sure the data is consistent and correct. Especially the correctness and consistent point. If you are being surveyed for reputation, the way people actually acquire an image about you is something beyond you can do some kind of activities, you can do a reputation strategy, but you cannot control the way people are acquiring, from where. So you have to make sure wherever there are credible data sources, external data sources, you have to make sure that your data is correct and well reflected there, because those are potentially the places where people are collecting data about your reputation. Now, let's ask a simple question. Does research actually impact your ranking? Definitely, yes, really impact. We'll see some statistics now, but overall, the research performance of a university constitute around 71% of your ranking overall. Of course, if you talk bibliometric indicators, then it's 51. So research bibliometric indicators. Let's go ahead. Those are the set of indicators for the 4 leading and major ranking systems in the world. I'm talking THE, Shanghai, US News, and the QS. And they are categorized into 3 families: research, teaching / learning experience you are offering to the community, and industry innovation indicators. Now, if you go to group 1 research indicators, those are the indicators, and not all of them are bibliometric indicators, as you can see. If you go to teaching indicators, those are the teaching indicators overall. If you go to industry, those are also industry and innovation indicators, actually percent of patents cited, etc. There's a lot of indicators there, and they really matter. Now, we say that research is an important indicator for many ranking systems. If you go to Shanghai, so 60% is about bibliometric indicators, the dark blue one. In THE, 39% bibliometric indicators. 75%. When I say bibliometric indicators, it means number of publications, number of citations, category normalized citation impact, percentage of publications in quartiles, etc. Research bibliometric. If you go to QS, only 20% in bibliometric. So overall, an average of 50% those is bibliometric research indicators. This is how important and relevant research indicators is to your ranking. Now you can go to reputation. The dark blue one is reputation. So in Shanghai, it's 0, it's not there. THE is 33%, US News 25%, and the QS is 50%. Overall, it will be 27%. It means that this is how much reputation is actually affecting your ranking overall. Now, let's ask the most important question, I would say, when it comes to the reputation versus research. If you want to do it, you have to do it right. So you know that reputation is helping your ranking. You know that research is helping your ranking. So do you do it by reputation or ranking? Most likely you will do it by both, and you are totally right. But if you are doing it by reputation, how to do it exactly? Because there's a cycle which we are labeling it as unvirtuous cycle. Some people, they start creating this kind of marketing activities to create a buzz on the social media. They create a reputation based on 0 value actually delivered to the actual university. This will affect positively their ranking. If they are ranked really high, it will affect the reputation. The reputation, it will feed into the ranking, and the ranking into reputation. This is a cycle. You are getting the university well ranked, but 0 university unvirtuous. The other cycle would be you go ahead and create a strategy within the university. One of the parameters feeding into your strategy is the reputation. No worries about this. It's totally legitimate and right. But this is a strategy with a lot of effort done. It will increase the performance and it will be reflected in the ranking. The ranking will help you to have better reputation, and then it will help you, you go ahead and realign your strategy and go ahead with your strategy. This is the situation where the performance is driving the reputation, which is driving the ranking, not the other way around. Extremely important to keep in mind, please. Now, let's have a research performance overview. How would this look like? Really briefly, not a lot, but you can see the kind of bibliometric indicators you should care about: the number of publications, conference proceedings, published books, percentage of publications with international co-author, number of publications cited in Science and Nature, and the other way around. All of those are bibliometric indicators which you should really care about. Now, the focus of this webinar is not to talk about a reputation strategy. It's more about the ranking strategy overall, but a reputation strategy could be created as well. But now just one hint on the reputation, that you have to build your brand awareness. If you are talking about IAU or other universities, one has to think that it should really matter in the head of the recipient and the audience that IAU brand name stands for something. So you have to shed light on the importance of the research results. Hours and achievement, very important to establish such things. Student content, graduations, the programs, they all actually matter. Study abroad programs, the collaborations, the international outlook, the staff profile. Let's bring more internationalized international staff members. The campus picture, it really matters to attract people and to establish our brand name. Notable past students, the alumni, they really help, and the student testimonials to see what they say actually about the university and the experience to be a student there. All those are tactics and approaches to do and to boost the reputation in a healthy way. Now, coming to this part, which is how to develop the customized ranking strategy with an exemplary strategy action. So it's all like, if you are going to do a strategy, then it will be definitely a teamwork. It has to be a teamwork. And you have to have people actually, all of them coming together to achieve this. Now, the approach we recommend all the time is IIR asset strategy framework. You start with the IIR. It means first we have to start with the indicators, get to know them precisely, and then impact of those indicators, and then relevancy, the most important point, how they are relevant to us. Going to the asset first, assessment. We assess our true position. We benchmark our position, and then we set goals. One can set goals and targets if he or she did not do the assessment exercise. Why? Because the assessment exercise is needed in order to set realistic goals. Realistic. If I want to move to position B, I have to know where I am now. Where is position A? If I don't know position A, maybe my target is too ambitious or very modest. I have to know position A and initial position. After that, establish initiatives, and of course, ended up with an implementation plan afterwards. Let's start by the indicators. If you think that the indicators are all the same, then I really invite you to think again. Let's, for example, talk about the citation indicator. For THE, it's really, mostly counting the citations, right? USNU is counting the citations, but also grasping the normalized citation impact as well. For QS, it's a citation per faculty member. How many citations are received per faculty member?
The weight given to THE is 30% for the citation. US News is giving the citation 17.5%, and the QS is giving the citation per faculty 2%. What is the takeaway here? The takeaway here for me is that for a simplified, actually, very simple, quite simple indicator like citation, and then we have three different definitions, three different remit and the scope of the definition, and definitely almost also not the same data source of those indicators. The weightage is totally different. It can go from 17.5% to 30%, so almost double. We have to take this into account. We have to respect this fact that I'm not going to actually strategize my approach towards ranking. I'm not going actually to effectively think about ranking and plan my ranking activities unless I understand and develop this kind of mature understanding of the indicators used by those ranking systems. This is a must, and I have to respect this all the time. Now going to the impact, actually. Impact of those indicators. Let's speak about the research measurable indicators. It means that in the dark blue, mostly bibliometric indicators. With Shanghai, it's 60%, THE 38.5%, US News 75%, and the QS 20%. So I have to know that if my bibliometric indicators changed, then directly my position in US News ranking, it will heavily change as well, heavily and drastically. On the other hand, in QS, it will not be that responsive. Of course, indirectly, it will change in a while, but directly speaking, it's only 20%, 1/5. While in US News, it's 75%. I have to understand this. This is something important for me to grasp. The same goes for reputation. We've seen that reputation for Shanghai is 0%, for QS it's 50%. So if there's some bad reputation about my institute, my university, for one reason or another, it will basically, it will not affect my Shanghai ranking directly, at least. While it will have a drastic and catastrophic effect on my QS, because my reputation is basically 50% of my ranking when it comes to QS. So we have to develop this kind of understanding of the diversified indicators and their impact, and how they are actually truly affecting us. Let's see this example of Cairo University in Egypt. In the dark blue curve, it's the data, it's actually the ranking of Cairo University in Shanghai from 2011 to 2019. You can see that Cairo University is on average advancing, on average, right? You can see that is the number of publications in the web. Look closely, please. See how correlated they are. I mean, they are really similar curves. As in what sense? They have the same features. It means that if the number of publications of the university is going up, the ranking somehow is correlated with it, and vice versa. This is important to notice, and this is somehow expected. Why? Because you can see that Shanghai is heavily based on research output, bibliometric research output. This is why it's affecting it. This is a way to really look at it from this angle. Let's have another example from Australia. We have 3 universities. University of Wollongong, University of Deakin, and let me put it, University of Curtin University. 3 curves, this is their traces in Shanghai rankings from 27, almost 27, up to 2019. You can see they have different tracks, different rankings, but overall in 2019, they ended up having almost similar ranking, but different tracks. Now the question comes to mind that what happened there so that they are gaining ground on ranking? Why they are advancing so much in ranking? And this is the answer. This is the amount of research progress they have done from 2003 to 2014, and this is almost reflected there. I want to waste more time on this, but to some extent, what we have to say, if you go to THE and reputation, it's still there. THE is based on a couple of indicators. One of them is reputation. This research article captured the reputation of universities, and it shows that it goes almost hand by their ranking. This is why it really matters for universities. Now for me, this is the most important point if we are putting together a strategy, relevance. Let's go down to an example here. Let's say we have one university ranking committee. They are considering to enhance their ranking, and they want to work on this indicator, which is, you see it in THE and you see it in the QS, and the indicator is faculty per student ratio. It means that as this reputation goes up, this is good for the teaching/learning experience inside the university, because it basically means you have more faculty exposure for the student if you have good number like this. So if a university wants to enhance in this perspective, they really have to get this indicator up. And they have 2 options, right? Simple mathematics. They either go and increase the faculty or reduce the number of students. If you go mathematics, both approaches are valid, but then how should we recommend to universities doing? In a typical university in the US, for example, they really care about attracting students and they care about their prestigious position. I know one university which really opted for decreasing the number of students because they need to keep this score at around 0.15. Okay, so it means for every 100 students, they have 15 staff members. I mean, of course, it's comprehensive definition, not only those giving teaching anyway, right? So they opted for reducing the number of students, and according to their business model, according to their vision, it was totally valid choice they've done. Now, most of the universities I know, they go ahead and they increase the faculty member. They would secure some budget, hire more faculty members to get this number. They cannot simply imagine that they are letting go some students in order to increase this ratio, because mostly they are public universities. They are interested in serving the community. They are interested actually in delivering a societal value to the community. They cannot imagine that they are letting go some of their students. It doesn't work like this. Okay, then this is something we have to understand.
Dr. Ayman, can you hear us? Hello, Dr. Ayman? Dr. Ayman? Just we really apologize. We will our speaker he will reconnect again in a couple of seconds. He respond to me. He's just fixing the problem what he has. Just bear with us for a second, please. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Sorry for the technical issue. I will just share my screen and proceed. Thank you.
Yeah, okay now.
Dr. Ahmed, shall I repeat this slide?
Yes, please, yes. Yes, yeah, you go ahead from where you stopped. Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. We were talking about the relevancy point, which is basically if I have an indicator and I want to get this indicator up, which is faculty per student, I have two options. I either go and increase the number of faculty, or I go and let go some of the students. I just don't register them, and then I will get this ratio up, right? Because this is the denominator. And if you go down, the whole ratio, it will go up. Both scenarios are actually valid. And I know some universities in the US, they go for option B, they reduce students. Most of the universities take option B because they are public university. They go for the first option, secure some budget and increase the faculty members. Now, the logic behind the scenario is the relevancy. What's relevant to me? This goes me to, this enables me to say that the relevancy of the university is the university of the guy, the relevancy of the policies is the most important.
Yeah, Dr. Adil. I think the connection again, Dr. Adil.
Can you hear me now, Dr. Ahmed?
Yes, yes. Yeah, but we don't.
Sorry again.
We lost the slides. Can you connect again? Yep.
I think you can see them now, right?
Yes, yes, indeed. Go ahead, sure.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry for this technical issue. So they get the university from 500 to 300, but unfortunately, they discovered that although the university is better ranked now, but there's no true value gained by the university. There is no excellence in the teaching or no excellence in the value delivered to the students, and they decided to stop seeking this. It doesn't mean that we should actually increase the ranking, enhance the ranking, because it matters as per the research done by Hazelthorne, but we should take care about the true value created within the university. Now, the impact of ranking should not be considered without the institution's own context or national context. Extremely important to understand it. Now, if you go to Shanghai, what I would do in a typical university, I would put all the indicators. I would create a column like this guy here, goal alignment, and I will check plus minus if this indicator is relevant to me. If it doesn't relative, I will put minus or no, and then I will see overall, is this ranking system relative or not relative to me? I would do it for the 4 ranking system. This is the relevance. Going to ASEP, which is the assessment exercise, I need to assess the university. We are giving an example from Egypt. We have 7 universities, right, in Shanghai. If I am Zakazaki University, I would aim for Mansoura as my benchmark. If I am Al-Azhar, I would aim also for Mansoura because it's somehow the same band. If I am Mansoura University, I aim for Cairo. If I am Cairo, I aim for regional universities in Saudi, because Saudi universities are really highly ranked, I would say, from this perspective. Now, if I am a university which does not appear in Shanghai, I will aim at Kafr Sheikh University. It really matters. Where is my benchmark? It has to make sense. Now, setting the goals as an exemplary goal, I need to appear in Shanghai. Okay, this is exemplary, only exemplary. And the goal has 2 specific. Number 1, it needs to be clear, and it needs to have a clear time frame. So the target to do it is within 2 years, for example, I have to increase my publications in sciences by this amount. I have to increase my publications in social sciences by that amount. It needs to be built on targets. Now, also the universities which I am benchmarked against is really advancing. I will have to do the extrapolation of the universities, and then I can correct my target. This is one way, a simplified way of doing the goal setting in a realistic way. Now, going to the established initiative, how to actually increase the publication. I can give general comments. I can increase the research funding there. I can set a publication target per faculty per year. I can introduce a policy that permits publishing only in index journal. Set a minimum of publication required for earning a PhD. A lot of initiatives could be launched within the universities in order to boost the number of publications. And those initiatives are even more important than compared to the targets, because those are what will make things realistic, what will make things work after all, not the targets. The targets are really theoretical, but the way we are positioning the initiatives, the way we are actually transforming the targets into realistic mini targets objects, this is what matters after all. What about the planning? We have to plan them. In a typical situation, I would actually put the university presidency or rector at the top, then go down to the project management office, which is effectively the ranking committee within the university. Then I have a couple of initiatives, and each initiative, we have a project manager for it. A project manager who is typically a member of the ranking committee not necessarily, can run one or more than one initiative. This is the extremely important thing. Now, all of them, they should be monitored in a way with KPIs, and this should be reported back to the project management office / ranking committee in the university. Now, please pay attention to the stakeholders labeled in green here, the faculty and the students. Those are indirectly involved in ranking. It means that we have to build the buy-in with them. We have to convince them to raise awareness about the importance of ranking, targeting them, because it really matters for us that they are on board. They are not resisting. If the faculty members and the students, they don't see the value behind ranking, and they don't understand how the policies that are implemented. For example, if we are telling the PhD students, you have to publish only in index journals, for example, okay? They won't be necessarily happy with it. Some of them, they will say, no, I will publish wherever I want. Why this matters? If we explain to them that this really matters for the university ranking, then this will make a big difference for them. Okay, you have to understand this point. By this slide, I end my presentation, and I hope that we managed to conduct a successful one. I hope that I have raised a couple of questions from your side, and looking forward to those questions and discussion. Over to you, Dr. Ahmed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adil, with really well organized, interesting, as one of our friend write to me. He said this is very interesting presentation. Let's have the question and answer. I really receive a lot of question and answer, a lot of questions, and we are seeking the answer from your part, if you don't mind, Dr. Adil. One of the colleagues sent an WhatsApp question. The question is, based on your experience, Dr. Adil, can you share a few of the most successful strategies to be adopted by early starter university to achieve a good ranking position nationally, regionally, and internationally? I think this guy...
Thanks a lot, Dr.
Go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Ahmed, for this question. I mean, usually my typical intake with such question that this is something really, it has to do with the university context. So there's no one size fits all. It needs to be tailored and customized. But now coming to the question from another angle, if you say we are an early stage university, small size university, I would check the eligibility of the university. I would check for some of the ranking system, for example, in THE, no way they will be ranked if around 80% of their research output is only centered around one of the 11 subject areas. So I would start by doing the exercise to check the eligibility. And if they are diversified, then they are in principle eligible. Now, going one step further on this question, I would say we have to set the expectations there. There's a lot of universities out there in the world, and those ranking systems are really global, and they are capturing universities from all over the world. I have to be realistic. I would say, as a rule of thumb, as we say it in physics all the time, and in the logic, right, that one university can be involved in building what we call the sample, and sometimes they are not building the sample, they are building the impactful sample, so to say. What does this mean? Maybe you are on a stage where you have to just ramp up and build the sample of research, expand, start really publishing and doing research output boost with the impactful journals, of course. Don't care if it's Q1 or Q2, maybe don't care about it so far, but just really increase your footprint. At some point, you will have to say, okay, I have the sample. Now I need to do what to do with this sample in order to reflect it better in the rank. But you have to be realistic, because sometimes the small size of the university can hinder it from being well ranked, even if they are doing the most impactful research in the world. We have to be realistic.
Thank you, Dr. Ayman. The other question they're asking about to share some of higher educational leadership most significant challenges in improving research and innovation indicators. Can you share some of it? Because they are interested to know how they are improving their research.
Definitely. I would say the ranking committee is running the university ranking approaches, okay? But they are not running the university. It means that if I am sitting at the top of a ranking committee in a university, I'm actually responsible of understanding and conveying the research performance of the university, the innovation activities, the teaching, learning experience being offered to the students. And then this is what feeds into my ranking. I strategize it. I communicate it with the ranking systems, whoever is asking my data actually. And then, okay, this is my activity. But we have to keep in mind and be realistic. I'm not in charge of the research activities inside the university. I'm not in charge of the teaching, learning activities. I'm not in charge in the innovation and commercialization. I have another stakeholder there. What I really recommend that when you are issuing recommendations to the presidency or to the higher leadership, you do it in terms of a strategy. We say, we need to increase the publications by this amount. Based on what? You are not actually the dean of research in the university. How could you recommend it? I have an angle to do it. You do it from the ranking side. You say, okay, I am running your strategy in the ranking. If we want to progress, we need to hit this target. And then you can actually start affecting the research. So you are affecting the research performance in the university, not from the research angle, but from the ranking angle. And this is a privilege. You can enjoy it, actually.
Thank you, Dr. Ayman. Another question here regard the data, which is what action should a university consider to boost and monitor the bibliometric research indicators?
As we most of us really aware, some of the ranking system, they don't communicate us, they just go to the databases and collect their data. Some of them know they need us to collect and communicate with their data. Now, coming to one important section of the question is to boost the bibliometric indicators. So bibliometric indicators are basically research indicators. And it's basically, it's true that you are sitting, for example, in the university in the ranking committee side. And most of the audience actually are actually asking from the ranking angle, but it's also true that we have to understand we are not in charge of the research activity in the university. We just have to set goals. But if we are setting goals for the university leadership or the deanship of research, how could we actually illustrate that? Let's say you are suggesting that 50% of the publication should go to Q1. Based on what? You are not the dean of research. But if you from the ranking angle, and you can actually get those numbers. Because if you are having a strategy for your ranking, then you know that you have to advance that much in this bibliometric indicator based on the methodology of the ranking system. And then you can communicate it with the researcher.
Thank you. There is another question regarding the data and for various ranking and how the QS or Shanghai or Times collect their data, which is how effectively do the universities govern or organize their data for various ranking, and how the ranking agencies collect the data?
Okay, so it differs from one ranking system to another. We see a lot of them actually going directly to the databases, collecting the data. I cannot give names now or so, but I tell you, as the Clarivate and the Web of Science team, we actually receive requests from quite some ranking systems, and we provide the data for them. Some of them, they go directly to the university asking for the data, research data or other data related to number of staff or students, etc. There's something important to recognize here, that although, I mean, the ranking system have their methodology, it's not all the time transparent. There's some ambiguity there, which they keep it, I think, in purpose in order for them to do the right judgment of what or not to consider. Although it's important to care about it, to understand it, we've seen that a lot of universities actually are missing a great opportunity to be well ranked due to something really very, I mean, unfortunate. They don't commit to the deadline of submitting the data or so, then the ranking system will be conservative with them. It means that the ranking system will say, okay, we estimate that this indicator, let's say the number of international staff, to be somewhere between 50 and 200. Since the university missed the deadline of submitting, we will go to the 50 indicator, which is the most conservative and the lowest one. And this, we have to keep it in mind.
Thank you, Dr. Ayman. There is another question regarding the project management. You mentioned that how the other one, the first one about the project management. What is the role of the project management office in overcoming the challenges in improving the university ranking position?
It's basically the project management office would be typically the ranking committee within the university. Now the role is really managing the whole project of having the university well ranked. And for the head of ranking committee inside the university, or the ranking committee overall, they are in charge about the reputation of the university as well. Because if the very meaning of ranking is basically reputation, right? We are well ranked, we have better reputation. So they are managing it. I have seen ranking committees in the US actually conducting conferences, running partnerships, etc. Of course, you have one office for the partnership, you have one office for the research performance, for the academic effort, etc. But the ranking committee will be involved with a lot of activities within the university from the angle of ranking, because it matters for the university. They can communicate with the research office in order to academic affair, TTO office to collect the innovation data in order to feed into their ranking. So basically, the research or the management office of the ranking, effectively the ranking committee, is involved in all the activities within the university, which really feeds into the ranking of the university.
Well, the other question regard the validity and the credibility. How data validity and credibility are vital to fulfilling ranking indicators? Do we need a well-designed system to accomplish that? Can you share your input on that, please?
You mean the accountability inside the university? I mean, how they are reporting the indicators?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I mean, of course, every university, they have their own quality assurance system. And the quality assurance system will make sure that the data is credible. And if you see about the reputation, for example, and this is really a very relevant question. So you see in QS, 50% is based on reputation. Overall, 27% in the major ranking system, 27% is feeding from reputation. There's nothing, and I've seen a couple of examples from Europe, East Europe, also from the US actually. There's nothing which will drastically hurt the reputation of university like to mistakenly report some data from the university. So you are telling something which is not true. And people, society, Twitter, actually, social media, the buzzes they create, they don't really care a lot if this is intentionally or not intentionally. Because once it is there, once you've made the mistake of reporting something which does not exist or which is not accurate, No one will trust you when you say, my judgment that this was a mistake, honest mistake. No one will trust you. You've made a mistake. This will ruin the reputation, and reputation is something really hard to fix. If you don't have good research, actually, and you hire some good people, you strategize your approach, in 2 to 3 years, you will start to see something. If you are involved in something really bad in terms of your reputation, then that's it. Some universities, they go, resolve themselves or change the name of the university, they start again. This is fatal mistake. So whatever you do, please be honest, be credible, because you cannot imagine the magnitude of the consequences of doing something shady there.
Thank you, Dr. Ayman.
Yeah.
Last question before we go to the summary of the thoughts. Whether publishing in a highly indexed journal with a high impact factors will impact the ranking of universities. Please share your viewpoints in this.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. It definitely helps. I mean, can we start from outside down? So it will help indirectly. I am a researcher reading an interesting piece from a Q1 journal, and here you go, affiliated with IAU, for example. Wow, this is a big, actually, impression for me. This is feeding into the reputation of the university. Now, going down, the ranking systems are capturing the number of publications it's there, are capturing number of citations. Q1 journals are, in principle, there's a lot of exceptions, by the way. The articles there, in average, they have more citations, more visibility. They have more normalized citation impact as well. So it's a win-win situation where you have better research, better ranking, better reputation in time, better ranking. You are capable of the, enhancing your reputation, feeding into your ranking, and capable of attracting more international staff, feeding into your ranking. It's a win-win situation. I cannot stress enough how important and how sustainable is to do the strategy for ranking from the research angle. This is the way to do it. When I show this virtuous and unvirtuous cycle, the virtuous cycle is basically when you do a strategy for research from the angle of ranking. This is the win-win situation, which we really recommend the universities to go down this road to do.
Thank you, Dr. Ayman. Well,
welcome.
I have too much a question here, and the time is almost there. And I promise for those send their question, I will let the speaker to answer it, and will
definitely
communicate with you guys to have the right answer and the right direction. Dr. Ayman Akil has really very interesting and thoughts scientifically draw clear lines regarding the strategies in terms of university ranking, judge universities across their mission, research excellence, teaching excellence, innovation excellence. He mentioned ranking system use different indicators and different ways. They also calculate different weights for same indicator, for example, number of publication in index journal. Also, he mentioned ranking system influence universities' ecosystems, criteria for inclusion and data sources for various university ranking are revealed. For example, in THE, data for research and citation are obtained from Elsevier's Scopus. Focus on data governance, consistency, single point of contact, and correctness to ensure the correct data for ranking system. Group the indicators from various ranking system under specific categories. Build once a brand awareness using social media content, research result awareness. The double IR strategy framework help you know the indicators and determine the relevancy. The impact of ranking on institutions should only be understood by considering the institution context or national context. Align the goal and the strategy of the university with a group of indicators. Look where you currently stand and decide with whom to benchmark. And finally, he mentioned set and move toward targets with implementation plan and governance. This is my thoughts and my summary regard what Dr. Ayman with really rich presentation. Before we close our session, close our webinar for chat and talk, we need to have 1 minute final thoughts from Dr. Ayman Akil. The floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Ahmed, for this opportunity. I would like to extend my actually gratitude to Dr. Ibtisam Suhaimi as well for the great leadership she is showing, Dr. Fahad as well for the great leadership. Dr. Ahmed, this has been a great opportunity. I like the way you are approaching the ranking. As I said, I like the way you introduced this topic. I think this is very strategic, and a lot of universities needs to hear actually from you as well, the way we are thinking about ranking and the way you conceive and perceive the ranking topic. This is a theme which is super important. We tried in Clarivate in order to rationalize this topic, this discussion, in order to put it in context. And if I have one final word, I would say, please don't build a university around the ranking system. No, build your university around your own objective, your own priorities, your own societal impact that you are seeking for, and then look at the ranking systems who are measuring you, who are measuring the dimensions in your performance, which matters a lot for you, and then consider them. So the priority list of the ranking system should be built based upon your own objective as a university and not the other way around. Thank you again, Dr. Ahmed. Thank you, IAU, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Ayman. This is a long tweet. Usually, from the culture of the webinar, we are tweeting this final thought. If you don't mind, we will. Through our Twitter, the university Twitter, and Deanship of Equality and Academic Accredited Twitter. I would like to thank you all. See you in our next webinar. We have very important guests from Oman University, from Sultan Qaboos. This is really, we are talking about learning outcome, graduate attributes, very important topic. I would like to share with you this. November 30th, I want to see you at the same time from 3:30 to 5 o'clock. To view our webinar, please visit our YouTube channel and our social media. It's attached, you can capture it. Also, it will be announced in the Twitter and Snapchat of the university. Attached is the Deanship social media. And if there is any question or any question for Dr. Adil Akil, it's a pleasure to us. We send it to his email and we share with the information with you. Thank you all, and God bless you, and we'll see you next month. Thank you, Dr. Ayman.
Thank you.
Thank you.